Hello and welcome back to the DreamHack Open Moscow 2014. I'm Richard Lewis, and it's not every day I have to do this. It's a bit unfortunate. I actually got to issue an apology on air. It's the first time I've ever had to do this. But I made some remarks earlier in the broadcast, which have really upset somebody. I made some comments about ink control and, you know, comparing him to Rocky. And I just, you know, I want to apologize to Rocky absolutely from the bottom of my heart, because he was at one time the best in his field. Nobody could ever say that about ink control. So I am absolutely sorry, Sylvester Stallone. And that segment was horrible. I feel dirty saying it, actually. God, Jeff was so nice, like, because he wasn't here, and he was like so nice, going, "Oh yeah, Richard's got this." Like when you all didn't believe I could, you know, pull this off. So I'm real sorry, Jeff. We're just having fun, probably, kind of. So
are we though?
Oh, but aren't we? So guys, we're getting all geared up for the Welmu Kaz game. We talked a little bit about it, and I want to avoid repetition where possible. But this is, I mean, again, I keep saying this, game of the day, game of the day. But I think this one really has the you know, opportunity, if you like, to present
potential.
Itself. Yeah, potential, that's the word. Thank you. Thanks for correcting me.
That's all right, that's all right. Don't worry, I'm jumping in, guys.
To really be the, you know, a real entertaining series.
I mean, you can look at it this way. It's only going to get better and better as the tournament gets smaller and smaller. We're getting the better and better players at the end of it. And this is a great one because it's two top European players. We've seen a lot of Koreans playing against Europeans and top Europeans playing against, like, kind of lower skilled Russian players and stuff so far. And this is definitely one of the first, like, really high skill matches we've had. So I'm very, very excited to see how it's going to turn out, because it could go either way. And both these players have such great followings and a lot of fans behind them. So it's a lot on the line.
Yeah, inflamed passions. I really, I don't know, because you talked about it earlier, and we're all in the Welmu camp a little bit, and I kind of feel like maybe I need to change my allegiance and like just say some good things about Kaz, because everyone's so just thinking Welmu's going to steam.
You know what? I'll do it then.
Yeah, you do it. Thank you. Thank you. Step up, man.
I'm gonna say Kaz is gonna win. You know why? Because I've played him a lot on ladder these days. I've lost most games, and I think honestly, Kaz is a macro machine. Like he struggled against Harstem. Those were still like fairly close games up until his entire army got stormed and died, but stylistically, Harstem and Welmu are very, very different. Welmu is more of a Colossus kind of player with Blink Stalkers that tries and finish games before Storm really comes in, or at least do damage. And against somebody like Kaz, who I guess in the past we've seen him struggle against that style, he's becoming more and more solid as time passes by. As you know, I've talked about how Protosses, they force field better, they chrono boost better, Zergs, they do injects better, while Terrans, they know finally how to fight better on most maps, they know how to macro bet all the time, and they always are going to have a nice supply lead. And in Kaz's hands, as long as he doesn't take like really bad fights, he should be able to do well against Welmu's army, whatever it is.
I'm glad you came out swinging for your man. Sean, why is Todd talking absolute nonsense?
I mean, one of the biggest things I think about Kaz is he knows these players very well, every single one of them in the group, and I think that's going to lean to his advantage a little bit, especially if Terran, you know, if Kaz can get that machine working, then it can work well for him. If he can get to where he needs to be in the game, where he can get that macro working and get that army building, and if he doesn't die early on to any sort of attacks, then I think he could do well. But Welmu's a player who knows exactly how Kaz likes to play, and that can be exploited so well against someone like Kaz. And, you know, Happy and Kaz are very similar in that regard. Their biggest goal is not to die early, to then survive, to play out their macro mechanics, to play out the longer stages of the game. That can be exploited, whether it be super fast third bases that don't get spotted, whether it be oracles that fly into the mirror lines that aren't prepared for, you know, stuff like this. Welmu is very good at finding an advantage in the early parts of the game to then carry that lead and then to look to finish it that way.
And it's so interesting, that kind of style as a Terran player. Usually you'd want to see, especially against the Protoss, the Terrans taking the initiative, trying to find the damage early on so they can go into that mid-game where they will pull the boys and actually try and finish it then and there. It's just something you just see so often. It's kind of like what you expect from a TVP in this stage of the meta. The Terrans are looking for the aggression.
Well, speculate no more, chaps, because Smix in the Lion's Den has actually got both the players for a pre-match interview. So we're going to go over to her now. She's there with Kaz and Welmu. Smix, take it away.
Thank you very much, Richard. Now, I'm here with Welmu and Cass before their match, and I'm curious to see what their thoughts are heading into it. Now, both of you guys landed in Group C, which is a very difficult group. You guys are alongside both Targa and Bly, and of course each other. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I don't know. Like, there is all the players are like quite good, but they are not like some Koreans. So I think I'm actually fine with it. I think it's easier to get first place in this group than in some other group.
And what do you think, Cass?
Well, from Finland I know only Alfie. I don't know who is Welmu, so I think it will be very easy.
And the trash talk has begun. Now, Welmu, how is your condition at this tournament? I know that in the past you've sometimes struggled with some health problems. You're currently undefeated, so how do you feel right now at this tournament?
Well, I have actually only won one best of 3 so far, but well, that's good still. But well, yeah, my condition is quite good now. It used to be quite bad recently, but now it's good again. So yeah, I haven't actually played too much, but I still feel like if I manage to play my A game, I can do very well with the old strategies.
Great. Now, talk to us about DMC, Cass. You know, in the past round, it's because you lost him that you actually landed in this group. So what happened there? And
it is our first match, and first match always difficult. It is warm-up match, so everything can happen in first match. So yeah, I played really bad. I didn't feel my mouse, so I think first match you should go on it.
All right, awesome. Now, with Welmu, now you're one of the best performing non-Koreans in WCS EU. Do you think you can translate that success you've had there into this tournament at DreamHack Open Moscow?
I don't know. It's always so random in these tournaments. Like when you get to the bracket stage, you can it's so random which opponent you will get. So it's impossible to predict. Let's just see how it goes, and yeah.
All right, sounds good. Now, Cass, I know that you're actually known for being extremely hardworking. You're known for ridiculous amounts of games on ladder, but unfortunately, you haven't been able to translate that into success in tournaments. Now, coming into this group, you landed in a group with 3 players that you should know very well because you ladder against them often. Do you think this can be an advantage for you actually going into this to advance?
Yeah, it will be harder than usually because we play so many times each other. I think it will be a lot of mind games. It is depend what strategy we'll pick one of you. So yeah, it will be really harder than usually games.
All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for this interview. You guys can shake hands, and it is time to get this game underway. So while these guys are getting situated to get the game started, let's head over back to the guys at the studio desk.
Okay, so there we go. That was Smix with both players that we're about to see. Interesting interview. I want to talk about body language. Who looked the most confident there, do you think? Because both had their arms folded. They're a little bit stand-up. You're probably right, actually. But out of the 2 competitors.
Welmu.
Really?
Yeah.
For me.
I think his answers were a little bit underwhelming. Like it sounded like he wasn't practicing much. And
I think neither, actually.
Are we going to see the first ever game in DreamHack history where no one wins? Is that what you're saying?
they both just lose. I think, judging by that, I have more confidence in Cass. I'm going to feel. He looked like a little bit more together.
I mean, I got to say, just in the answers themselves, Kaz was saying it's going to be an easy game for me. Welmu was talking about the health problems, which it was something I wanted to bring up and we'll definitely get into, but kind of also getting his excuses in early.
Yeah.
Which, I never...
Smix asked him. He didn't bring it up himself.
No, but this is what happens in interviews.
And he said he was in good condition now. Did you even listen to the interview, Richard?
No, I
What
did.
the
He
hell?
He said that, it's not been kind of good.
Yeah, before, but he said he was in great condition now.
Yeah, but but I mean, right, he also said he hadn't been practicing very much.
He was going to use old stuff.
Yeah, but he said it was going to be enough.
Yeah, and he said I can win with the old strategies.
We can do this all night.
Yeah, we do it.
Richard is a professional journalist, Todd.
Yeah, I think I know what I heard, friend.
It's not what Kat said last time I saw him about your career. So,
but no, like I said, I don't know. I kind of got a very good vibe about the way Kaz was answering the question, saying it's going to be an easy game. Welmu did kind of look to just edging in a few excuses. I know you disagree, Sean.
I mean, I think Welmu is a type of player who, I mean, everyone likes to have that fallback, right? When they enter a game, they're like, yeah, well, I'm not practicing as much, so if I lose, that's my fault. But I think that he's actually going to be fine in this group. I think looking at the group, he's definitely a favorite, and no matter what he says, doesn't matter, man.
You're so biased. You always go for the most generic.
Hey, that's what you answer, man.
I want to be generic today.
It's fair. I mean, Cass has already lost as well.
Apollo,
He's already lost.
No, because I'm going to be right with my prediction, man. I got to be right.
Todd picked up his word of the day calendar and it was generic. I don't know what it is. Everyone's generic.
The one thing I really liked about the answers there, not the questions, the answers, was Cass saying that he knows these guys really well. And it can play to a disadvantage, saying that, you know, there are going to be mind games here. But I really think that if he kind of senses what to look for in their strategies, that's already a big factor in this group for Cass.
He said they play a lot, and it's true too. Like it's funny actually because Cass, like, he has a barcode, but he's the only player ever out of, actually I was gonna say out of all the Terrans, but all the players in general, to say HFGL instead of games. So if you ever meet a Terran that writes HFGL instantly, it's basically Cass.
Wow.
So everybody knows his barcode.
Well, that's not good.
Man,
well, that's silly,
the cat's
man.
out the bag.
Just silly,
the cat's out the bag. Todd, how much more wreckage can you just leave in your wake? It's
a lot
awful.
more.
I know, it's worse than me. You know, I'm burning people left, right, and centre. I've already got one guy fired during this broadcast. You know, like,
you're trying to get him back.
yeah, I have tried.
And when In Control finally awakes from his late night slumber,
my God,
he's in for a shock.
Too. Yeah.
He's going to have those type of tweets like, "Are you actually at In Control? Are you listening to @R Lewis?
Yeah, it's going to be those.
What he's saying about you."
But while we're talking about hangovers, let's talk about health problems. Right? The only health problems I've had are hangovers. But Welmu's had something a little bit more serious than that. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know if any of you guys do, but he did struggle with his health for quite a while.
I'm not sure what it's exactly called, but his immune system shuts down quite easily, I think, and he gets sick really fast. I'm not sure what that's called. But he has that comes... Bad. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Very bad.
But that comes and goes every few months or so. So sometimes he's in bad shape where he gets sick really easy and, you know, he catches colds very easily and so on and so on.
Well, in tournament conditions as well, I mean, this is like the worst. Like, it's a bad environment to be in for that sort of thing.
But I don't think he gets it, like, during tournaments. Like, where he has it sometimes, and I feel like he almost never has had to cancel a tournament because of it. Like, it's happened maybe, like, once that I know of. So, like, for the most part, he's okay. And, like, I don't think he's somebody like that complains a lot. He always tries to give his best, and I'm glad that he said here that he's in good condition too. That means he's going to play his A game, even though he hasn't had the practice maybe they would have liked to have. It's good to hear.
Yeah, and what about yourself? I mean, you've been a competitor for a long time. You're now retired, living the good life as a caster. You ever had a period where, you know, illnesses kept you out of a tournament or anything?
It's just about always been jet lag for me more than anything else. Sleeping problems and jet lag is usually the killer for me.
Broken hearts.
Yeah, broken heart does its work as well. Absolutely. If you're feeling down, it's all a mental game after all. So
being the ladies' man.
But I'm glad to see that you've got no jet lag. Now you're a caster. The first class flight from Australia or Korea, was wonderful.
Not a problem at all. You know,
the champagne and the
champagne.
Juice,
I just drink champagne and sleep on the plane in first class. You know,
the
no
caster life,
here.
man.
Carry around my cash bags. You know, I'm fine. Just doing just fine. But no, I have experienced such things. Not to the level he has, obviously. He's like, obviously on a whole new level dealing with all these problems. And I'm sure it would affect him a lot. Even having a cold at a tournament is enough to throw you off your game.
So predictions, chaps. We're gonna do it. I know we've already kind of done it, but this is the make or break time. I'll start with you.
I still think Welmu's going to take it. Even though Cass looked a lot more confident in that interview, Cass has already lost the game. He made it. He said it was my first match of the day or whatever. It's kind of a cop out. I still think he's in a worse position. And I still think Welmu's going to take it.
Okay. Todd,
Cass
back
to win.
Cass to win.
2-1.
2-1.
2-1 Welmu.
Okay, well, I think there've been some pretty good predictions. I'm just going to. I'm hoping that they were ready to go over to the game now. I don't want to make that mistake.
Yeah,
again.
No, we're ready.
We are ready.
We're
okay,
ready.
so who's going to be casting this? Is it going to be used to Todd and Apollo?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I want Moonlight to get involved in this. We haven't heard enough from him. I'm getting bored of you guys. But anyway, so without any further ado, we're going to have Apollo and Todd casting this epic encounter between Kaz and Welmu. Don't go anywhere.
And we're here. I'm glad you didn't go anywhere.
The throws are real.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this game. Hopefully, if Richard has enough passion, he can come cast a game for himself later on. Cast a Terran game. Down here in the bottom left for Team Neurosoft, it is, of course, Welmu, a multiple top 8 finisher in WCS Europe, and arguably the best Protoss in the European scene currently. So we'll see how well he's going to do today. On the other side of things, we have up here to the top right of Overgrowth, it is, of course, Cascade with his new team. And we'll see how well he can perform here. In Group C, the first game of the round of 32. And in a couple of hours, we will only have 16 players left in the tournament from starting up with 64 earlier today.
Okay, so I talked a little bit about how these two may match up stylistically. And, Welmu, he's a guy who loves to play with Colossus, sometimes with Forges, sometimes without. He loves to hit those timings here and there when there's not enough Vikings, where he has enough Stalkers to make something happen. He's usually going to leave enough back at home to defend against potential drops. And I really feel like Forecast is going to be a lot about taking the right fights, picking his fights, picking the position, preparing a concave before the fight begins is going to be very, very important. Terrans have been getting a lot better at this. I remember Cast, though. He's had some legendary throws, man. Back to the Wings of Liberty days. I think it was against Grubby at Home Story Cup. On Daybreak, he was quite far ahead. Took a really, really bad fight against Colossus in Force Fields.
Well, even against Harston, he didn't have the ideal fights, right? I think that was the main reasons why he lost versus Harston in WCS recently.
Well, I mean, it's the year of Harston as well.
Oh, yeah. Completely forgot about that 24-month period.
What do you mean? It's forever.
It's forever, man. It's actually an ongoing year of Harston. Okay, so we have the openers, the opening builds for both.
eBay block or not? Yes. Oh, the Zealot was not cancelled, so he should be all right against this. Very important. Actually, the SCV is going to die as well. So definitely not worth it here, Forecast. You're supposed to get a lot more hit points up on that eBay and save your SCV as well. Now he didn't either.
Do you think this is a little bit about what Cass talked about before, the mind games potential here, where Welmu could not usually build a Zealot against Cass, and now Cass has decided to do this?
Or at least cancel it. Like if he's a little bit off in his timing, just one little bit, and somehow he cancels it because he thinks there's not going to be an eBay, then he will be taking a chance, and in this case he would have been on the wrong end of things. But with what happened here, it's definitely Cass who got the worst
The roughest start to this series.
Yes.
And the Zealot's going to make its way over to the other side of the map here. Will not got any success as there is a bunker and Marines around here. More than enough Marines, and of course the bunker will prevent any attempts on lives here. As Cass even chases the Zealot away. You think we'll see some tricky play come out from Welmu? Or you think, he's chosen Robotics Facility here. Do you think he'll stick with this kind of staple opening for the whole series?
Yeah, I think Welmu is one of those guys that a lot of the time will play with a quick robo like this into Colossus, get Blink a little bit later on. I've almost never seen him actually go for like a quick 30. He loves to stay on 2 bases for some time and then either do an all-in or get some upgrades going before taking another base. If he was to play very differently than this, I think it'd be something like maybe on King Sejong Station, like we've seen him do in the past, where you get a Twilight and then you do some Blink play. Usually more as an all-in rather than a pressure or defensive play with Welmu.
Okay, well, we'll have to keep track of that throughout the series. Cass has actually gone 3 barracks here, so he's going to be able to produce quite a lot of units very early on here, going to have quite a few Marines. He's actually building 3 Marines at a time, more so than adding Marauders here, so there could be an opportunity for him to move out shortly. That's something that Welmu's going to have to keep tabs on. He does have the Stalker outside his opponent's bunker, and of course, Zell Nugget Tower coverage. But currently, he's only on 1 gateway, and just the robotics facility. What is his next structure to be thrown down? And it is the robotics bay. Quite fast in this game.
Yeah, expected. I mean, Welmu loves to open Colossus no matter what. I expect Twilight Council to follow this shortly. And then, I mean, it really depends on his mood. Welmu was actually that first guy that I saw completely skip on Forges, go up to 8 gateways. I think it was against Innovation on merry-go-round back in Bucharest. And basically just get a ton of units out and then do a 2-base timing, against which Innovation just died because he didn't expect it. It's very, very hard. Like, Terrans, they've been skipping on scans a lot, just because they want to get that 1 more mule. They want to get more units. They want to make sure they stay ahead on supply, which, to be honest, can be a little bit of a gamble. I feel only against DTs, because they have Marines in position against Oracles. Like, what else could there be? Blink, they're making a ton of Bioforces and spending mules to have more money and make more units. So only against DT will they be in trouble. But very few Protosses, they are trying DTs. And by the way, still no Twilight here for Welmu.
No, just pure Colossus production currently. Welmu did poke in, by the way, and he saw that the factory had already been built and the starport's on his way. The engineering bay actually a little bit delayed here for Cass compared to some normal openers.
Thermal lens after just one Colossus and additional gateways already? Could we see something like a 2 base, 3 Colossus timing with something like 8 gates? Right now he's gone up to 6.
Yeah, definitely looks like it at the moment here.
It feels like Welmu waited to scout with his observer before he decided what he goes for.
Yeah.
And he did see that there was 3 barracks as well as later. I guess you can call it late starports compared to a quick tech to Medivacs, because Cass stayed on 3 barracks for a long time before starting to make the factory and then the starport. So I think he knows Cass, he knows there's going to be a 3rd CC. Going for a 2 base timing could be very, very strong here.
And we do see Welmu tracking the army of Cass, who's moving out here. If Welmu can actually catch this, he warps in a couple more sentries here. If he divides this army up and actually kills off the majority of it, that will actually just empower his potential attack here that he's looking at. Cass needs to be very, very, very careful with the units that he's moving out with. He does have stim.
Ooh, that pylon on the map is being found right now. This is a big deal. This is a massive tell that a Protoss wants to get aggressive at some point. And he's going to deny that. I mean, even if a Zealot is warped there, Cass can just send in reinforcements, kill that Zealot, kill the pylon, make sure Welmu cannot reinforce across the map, and having the 2 watchtowers, he's going to be able to see his opponent move out. In which case, I mean, you know something's up. You know your opponent's going across the map. You know you could get attacked. Did Welmu just block his 3rd base with the pylon?
That should be... Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think he did.
Well, Zealot did get warped in, but more units come over to deal with that. And oh my gosh, he's got his army caught! This is exactly what he didn't want to have happen. The Medivacs arrive way too late here, and Cass gets his army caught on that 3rd base, and Welmu takes a big advantage when it comes to the army size here. Yeah, this is his chance.
He's going to go for it. 3 Colossus out already, and a 4th one on the way. He's going to leave the Mothership Core back at home, ready to photon overcharge.
Whoa, Cass is transferring SCVs to the 3rd base. Does he not realize he's about to get hit by this attack?
This is what I was talking about. Cass has such a wonderful macro, but he always somehow in those important games make the stupidest moves. I'm going to say the stupidest move.
He sees the army in the middle of the map. There's no bunker starting until just now after the Marine is killed on the Zelnoga Tower, not the units being seen walking across the map. He's in so much trouble currently.
He's ahead on supply, but I mean, SCVs are not going to help all that much. Pulling the boys when you just have a few Vikings against that many Colossus is not going to be good. Force fields going to be very important, and Welmu has very good ones. Cass is in trouble.
Yeah, Cass is in so much trouble here. Full suit on the ramp. The Vikings come in, but the Stalkers can easily deal with those if they turn around and pick them up. And this is a beautiful move here from Welmu. He's just got to finish the deal. There was a counterattack on the other side, some leftover units, but 20 workers have been killed in this game already here for Welmu, and that's obviously not very good for Cass here as he launches the attack right into the bio. The Colossus microbatlet, there's simply too much here. Cass losing that big portion of his army, not really seeing this, not really adapting into it, and Welmu takes a very, from what it seems, easy game number 1 here against Cass.
The rectoring, man. He did he even lose a unit in that attack? Probably like 1 Zealot or 2. Cass getting his units cut out of position the way he did, completely unacceptable. I'm really surprised he plays so well on ladder. He's like one of the most consistent players, one of those that plays the most, but somehow in those high pressure, those important matches, he kind of seems to disappoint a lot. And that was another one of those cases here. And if he plays like this in the next game, I mean, he's not going to do well either against somebody like Welmu, who just seems to be a lot more consistent.
And not just that, but for the rest of his group as well. This is a very competitive group with 4 very good players in it, and losing like this is not going to inspire confidence for Cass. It's going to actually fuel the other players going up against Cass, knowing that these type of mistakes are possible here. Not the best of starts here for Cass, but maybe this is another warm-up game for him. He's definitely going to need something to get him back and ready, and kind of, he needs kind of the eye of the tiger more so. He needs to not make these mistakes. He needs to be a killer. He needs to attack. He
doesn't need the eye of fin control. He needs the
eye
of the tiger.
Yes.
Here we go again.
As Richard would say, he definitely wouldn't want that. But we'll see how well Cass can do in this. But fantastic start here for the Finnish Protoss player, who is already, to be honest, maybe even thinking past Cass. This seems to be a little bit too easy for him. But anything is possible coming into this next map. Cass can tighten up the loose ends of his game and hopefully be able to provide a slightly better one coming into this next one.
I didn't really see what happened with the units. Like, what were they doing there?
They were messing around with that pylon that was there. But at the same time, so was Welmu's army, which I don't think Cass was really looking at.
The Medivacs were so far behind. Like, how did that really happen? Like, it was just so reckless here by Cass. I guess he was busy at home, maybe macroing and maybe looking at
also doing that pylon on the top
left-hand side, looking at a Zealot. One single Zealot and a pylon. That's all it takes to to make a Terran distracted, and then you can catch his army and force fill it. And I mean, from there, it was clear what was going to happen. Welmu was going to run across the map, plant down a pylon, if that's the proper term, I don't think it is, for a pylon, plant down a pylon, and basically attack and kill his opponent. Because with 3 Colossus, against only the first 2 Vikings coming out, those Vikings are not going to do anything against Colossus. Like, you're just going to ride out, kill your opponent. And Welmu has that killer instinct, man. Like, and he managed that attack very, very well. You know, a lot of players should have stayed back, waited for 1 more, 2 more warpins, and then Terran. You allow Terran to come back to get more Vikings out and to maybe hold. And I'm that guy who always has that happen to him. So watching Welmu here, having that killer instinct, moving in for the kill and getting it is very inspiring.
Do you think that Welmu continues, you know, down the similar pathway here? Do you think he plays aggressive, like super aggressive, you know, executing a style of attack again, or do you think that he kind of changes it up coming into game 2?
I was going to say it's about the map, and I was looking at the map, but we were hosting on Overgrowth, so
yeah,
I guess we're going to have to correct that. Imagine next map is King Sejong Station. I think you will probably predict the same as me.
But if it's not King Sejong Station,
then what would it be like?
Just normal play again? I mean, the map choice.
Yeah, it really, like if it's merry-go-round, it could play similarly.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just getting Blink on top of this, but then it will delay his timing. The thing is, Cass, even though he lost to this, I feel like Cass is even more susceptible to do this than MMA, like I talked earlier. Even though he just lost to a very aggressive style and he's playing a very aggressive opponent, Cass is that guy that will still be like, well, you know what? I kind of messed up this game. I still need to play my own gameplay with the 3rd CC. I can still be greedy as long as I'm careful enough. And, I mean, if that's how he goes about it, he might get punished here again by Welmu, who's relentless with those attacks and timings.
Well, as you said, it depends on the next map here, and it's going to be Deadwing, the second map here.
Interesting.
So, you know, a massive, large 4-player map if you're not too familiar with Deadwing. Easily accessible 2nd, 3rd, and 4th base, a kind of a pocket corner to have here. Do you think this favors Cass if he can drag it later? Does it favor Welmu? There's a lot of space to hide things here potentially on a map this big.
I think it favors Cass at first. If they go into the really late game, then Welmu would probably be in a better situation, even though he doesn't seem to want to play the super late game. Like Welmu is always the guy that try and make something happen before. So I feel like early game is always going to be standard by these guys. Like you're never really going to see something crazy unless, again, Welmu tries something like a blink play. Yep. So I feel like the mid game is going to be the deciding point between these two.
All right, so around 10 minutes, 11 minutes around this part of the game.
13. Earlier, when I casted a TVP, I explained how like 13 minutes right now is that time where Terran a lot of the time will have something like 80 army supply, whereas Protoss will have 50. That's really when you can make something happen. And Braddock just sat back and then lost to Kugwar. And this time, if Cass finds himself in that situation and just sits back, he could actually be in a good position because Welmu is going to attack into him and lose everything. I don't know, man. It's the
Anything's possible in StarCraft,
happen.
man. Yes. Anything's possible. The second map is ready, so let's jump right in to bring you the second game between these two. Which one is going to take it? Which player could potentially move forward here? Is it going to be Welmu 2-0 or Cass can tie it up? I guess we will find out. Down here to the bottom left-hand side, playing for Team Neurosoft, it is the Finnish Protoss player Welmu, who has started this series very, very well, and hopefully can continue on in Group C to hopefully make the bracket stage of this tournament, which is the next stage of it, the top 16. And then we do have a slight lag problem, but to the top it is going to be Cass from Team Cascade. And, you know, he's going to be really looking to pull this one back up because Cass definitely has the potential here to get out today's group in Group C and make it to the bracket stage. But as you can see, we do have TOD. I'm not too sure who that is. Oh, I caught that. I'm going to... Bad player, bad caster, I guess bad observer too, says Cass.
See you on the ladder, boy.
See you on the ladder.
We'll see about that.
Cheeky Cass there.
He's laughing at his own joke.
Todd is going to like that comment, says Welmu. Do you like that comment about what he said?
I like it.
Well done, Cass. You've brightened up Todd's day if he wasn't bright already.
Can I change my prediction, by the way? Welmu is just going to 2 and wreck Cass completely in that second game.
Well, it looks like we're going to jump into the game straight away here and just continue on with it, Todd. So hopefully we should be all good to continue on and jump straight back into this. Of course, round of 32 right now. Who is moving forward to the winners match of Group C? with Bly and Targa as the other two competitors in this group. So here we go. No command center first from Cass. It's going to be a 12 barracks coming out from him. So not going towards the more greedier opening.
Cass is a big fan of Reaper openers, but this is definitely one of the maps where he could have played it differently. But yeah, it does look like he's going to go for a Reaper. And honestly, when Cass gets going with like a quick third CC and you let him get away with it, I don't care what you're doing. You're always going to be in trouble because he's able to get so many units out very, very quickly. So Welmu definitely needs to keep an eye out for that. And going for a quick scout, he's going to be able to identify exactly how Cass has opened and already have an idea of what he should go into himself.
Remember, during this game, there are a lot of other games being played simultaneously. You can go to twitch.tv and have a look for the StarCraft section and have a look for some other streams that are covering DreamHack Open. Lots of games to see. If Terran versus Protoss is not your fancy, there are other matchups being played too. As we have 3 best-of-3s lined up for you this one, and then 2 more after this to complete the day. So we finally get the 16 players that will play in the bracket stage tomorrow. So, you know, Welmu's gone in. He knows that this is going to be a Reaper opening. He knows that the gas has been taken. What are some of the things that could be already going through Welmu's mind when it comes to thinking about what he could do? I mean, what options are available?
You mean for himself or what he thinks? Oh,
yeah.
I mean,
well, actually, we already kind of can tell here. Go hide on the high ground in the smoked area.
If he was to do something here, it'd be a Stargate for sure, but he doesn't really have to do anything special. To be honest, like playing his standard Colossus style with or without Blink, he's just so good at it that he's always going to do well with it, no matter what. So he doesn't have like to hide a Stargate or anything like that ever, I think, to do well against somebody like Cass, who has almost always played a fairly standard style. You said it yourself, you know, he tries to stay alive much like Happy.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's probably a lot more aggressive than Happy though in the mid game and all that.
Well, Welmu has revealed the 3rd pylon inside his main base. The Reaper did see that, so right now there is no consideration to a probe out there with the thought process of potentially throwing something down, but that probe has not been used. Is that something where we could see another 2-base Colossus push come out, and that is the probe that's going to be building the pylon later in the game? Because if he's going to do something, he would have already thrown down his tech choice by now.
Yeah,
is this going to be a
Twilight?
Oh, okay.
It could also spot some kind of Medivac if Cass was to go for like a factory and then Medivac behind it. The Twilight makes me wonder, is it Blink or is it DTs? You know, I've been thinking about this a lot and talking about it too a little bit. Terrans right now, they skip on those scans in the mid game. They don't really try to see what they're up against because they know that they get more units by using 1 more mule, so they hold against everything, except maybe against DTs. Against DTs, they will be in trouble, but you know what? Nobody's really going DTs, and even if you go for it, it's not a sure thing. Like, the timing the DTs are going to arrive is so random, and a lot of the time, the Terran is going to have enough scans to deal with it very well. Welmu, though, is more of a Blink guy, and yeah, he's just going to be Blink.
But, I mean, with the probe out here, is he looking to commit quite heavily to this Blink? Is it only going to be a couple of gateways?
I mean, depends what you mean by commit heavily. He doesn't have to go for a massive all-in. Like, even if he was to drop 3 additional gateways now and then goes for an attack later on, it's still not an all-in because he's making probes at the same time. He already has a very decent saturation at his natural. So we'll see how many gateways he goes. We have a first one. Let's count the gateways together. Apollo 2.
1, 2, 3 in total. 2 additional ones.
Okay, so
3.
Yeah, there we go.
And
actually, that's not
see a couple more.
I thought he might stop at 3 additional ones, but no.
No, and this Reaper's on the natural. It does want to get some more information. If anyone was following where the Reaper was, it was to the top right of this base. He's on the natural right now. Sees no gases at 7 minutes 10. Is this not a tell that no gases have been thrown down already?
It's already a bit of a tell, but you can't be sure about exactly what's going on. And you know what? This move out might play into right into Welmu's hand, but the gateways were made very late in terms of army right now. There is really not much for Welmu. If Cass he's not even going to try to get a Reaper into the main from the other way. And Photon Overcharge was used directly. He might... Does he scan from here?
Well, Cass is going to go in for this, and he's got to be so careful. Pro's going to get pulled back, and all the gateways are finishing up, as well as Blink here. And remember that Cass has eventually got to run away home here.
No, Blink not just yet, actually. A few seconds away, man. This is a very long upgrade to get.
15 seconds more on this. The probes have been lost, but not that many. 5.
Yeah, against 6. Blink, you shouldn't be sacrificing those units. Cass didn't know. Right now he sees a lot of stalkers. I think he's able to realize what's going on. But there is already a pylon being proxied across the map. 7 probes were killed. Welmu is going to have to do a ton of damage.
Yep. Time to get to the other side of the map here. And Cass obviously knowing what's going on, seeing the high amount of stalkers, the lack of gas on the natural. He knows what's coming his way. 2 bunkers are being made, but there are currently 8 stalkers out. 4 more getting warped in. A total of 12 stalkers here. He's lost the mothership core in that attack, so he doesn't have high ground vision for now, but he can take an assault directly here. And we are going to see this attack from Welmu. Is this where he takes a 2-0?
It's going to be really hard for Cass to hold. There is 30 army supply right now to 19. 14 stalkers to 13 marines. We don't really like those odds here for Cass.
And they're only going to get worse here. More stalkers are getting warped in, and Welmu's on the high ground here. He's behind these bunkers, and he jumps aggressively onto the Marauder here, and he's taking the fight into the Marines and a Marauder at the back there. And it's time to blink Micro now that Blink is off cooldown, and he is dealing so much damage. 12, 13, 14 SCVs down. So many stalkers left over, and this looks like this is simply Welmu's series, Welmu's game, and this could be Welmu's group as well. An aggressive play from Welmu in Game 1 and Game 2, and it looks like that is enough to seal the deal here for the Finnish Protoss player to advance to the winner's game against Cass. GG is called. 2-0 it is. And, well, it was not very difficult for Welmu, Todd.
I like how he said he's going to use his old build and then he just did it, you know? It's just like Stardust in WCS Europe. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to proxy some Stargates and win. Then he does it and he wins. Welmu is one guy who's been doing this since basically the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Since he started playing StarCraft 2, it's always been about those timings. Always in a best of 3 or even a best of 5, throwing in some 2-base Colossus without Forges, and then sometimes doing some Blink play. On this map, I guess the Blink play is not bad if you know that your opponent likes to move out to try and do something. Throws away his army and then you can just counterattack and kill him. And this is exactly what happened here. He read right into what Cass was going to do. And Cass even mentioned that in the pre-game interview. He said there's going to be a lot of mind games.
Yeah.
Welmu definitely did better with those here.
It really felt like both games here, you know, Cass was just walking into something and then lost a lot and then just died to the counter pretty much. That's exactly what happened. Game 1, he lost all those units on the 3rd base to the Colossus and Force Fields. Game 2 moves out with a combat shield, you know, timing here with a double Marauder, a couple of Marines for a combat shield push to do damage. Walks into an attack again. So, you know, even though it was 2-0, even though it was quite convincing in favor of Welmu, surely Cass got slightly unlucky with the options of the strategy that he chose and also the one that Welmu did as well.
You know how against somebody who's on the attack, you need to be on the defense and vice versa? I feel like Welmu knows that Cass is going to be on the attack and use that to his own advantage. He goes on the attack too. So basically, he stays at home and he makes the army to go on the attack and he waits for the opponent to go on the attack. Then he defends and then he goes for the counterattack. That's what happened in both games, and he does very well with that. It's an interesting style. The thing is, supposedly it's predictable. It's really Cass that's not adjusting his play to what Welmu does here. I feel that's made Welmu do so well in the series.
Well, Cass does have another chance here in Group C. Down in the low bracket, it's going to be a difficult road to still get top 2. Welmu now fights for first place in Group C. Let's hear some words from Welmu.
Thank you very much, Apollo. Of course, I am here with Welmu after his victory over Cass. Congratulations on that. Now, the casters prior to the game were talking about your body language with Cass in the pre-match interview, and that they were debating whether you seemed confident or not confident, and I think they were kind of leaning towards not confident, but then we saw in that 2-0 victory that maybe they were wrong. So how was your mindset actually before that game?
Well, actually, I wasn't like expecting anything. I know that Cass likes to play greedy, so I just abused that in both of games. And maybe like, actually I might be not confident, but maybe that helps, so I'm not so nervous when I play. I was able to play very calm, and my micro was pretty good, so yeah, it was quite easy in the end.
Well, actually, in the pre-match interview, Cass mentioned mind games because you guys play each other so often. Because of that, did that factor into the strategies that you decided to use, or did you just kind of go with what you were comfortable with?
Nah, I haven't actually played him lately since I haven't played so much. I actually played one game with Zerg against him, and I won him with Zerg one game, and yeah, but that didn't help too much here.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Now, you mentioned earlier that you feel that at these types of tournaments, luck plays a big factor depending on the bracket that you get and things like that. You're now one step away from the round of 16. The winner of Bly and Targa stands in your way. How do you feel about those two players, and is there a specific player that you kind of want to avoid or you would rather face?
Well, I would definitely prefer to play against Bly, since even though I won last time against Targa when I played him, I think he's very good in CVP. And he's very good at using Swarmhost, and I'm really struggling against Swarmhost. So, and now this time he said that if he plays against me, he will make Swarmhost against me. So, I might be in some trouble. So I have to think of some good all-ins against him if I get against him. Against Bly, I think I will be fine, but against Targa, I need good all-ins.
All right, well, if Targa is the victor, we'll hope that he doesn't listen to this interview that you just gave where you said you prepare the all-ins. Well, well, best of luck, Welmu, in whoever wins that match. It seems actually that Targa won. So yeah, maybe you will have to prepare those all-ins. So anyway, good luck. Guys, we're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have a second match in Group Stage 2 ready for you guys.